ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to Just Plain Living. I'm John Gray.
Good morning, John. How are
Hi,
you?
sis. How you doing?
I'm Peggy Burton, as if you didn't know.
As if I didn't know. Don't you look lovely today?
Well,
I
you're
like
very
that
kind.
blouse you have on.
I'm just glad I could
It's
get
very
in it.
whimsical. If you can barely see the light colors on it on the television screen, but it's very whimsical, fun-looking.
I've lived to be whimsical.
You've been whimsical.
Everybody wants to be whimsical.
Yeah, don't
once
we
in a
all?
while. I
Don't we
know.
all?
We need a little
Particularly
whimsical
right
in our
now.
lives. Oh yeah.
With everything going on right now, it's hard to understand, folks, what the deal is. You hear one thing one day and something else the next day, and
it's a whole new story.
we had 153,000 and some odd deaths due to the COVID, and now the CDC's come out and said, well, that's more like 9,000.
I don't even want to hear
And so
it.
you have to. It's hard to understand who numbers lie and figures lie and liars figure. You know, you can
Oh,
make
that's a good
numbers
line.
look any way
Yeah.
you want them to look. Depends on the parameter.
My friend Brian Guest has just gotten over
Has he?
COVID,
Yeah.
and he was just in shock getting it because I think he had driven somewhere with someone, and the guy
Well, you
found
don't
out
know.
he'd been exposed. But I think everybody's been exposed in some way or other. We're all going to get exposed.
Probably so. But
Anyway, he said it'd been 5 weeks, and he finally decided he might live. So it's not an easy thing.
we were talking about the tree at South Jackson
I love
that's
that.
being carved by Roick Phillips. Roick, R-O-A-C-K. Roick doesn't have a R. Roick. It's not Roick. Roick Phillips, and he went to New Orleans.
to help in
So there's a little break been
in the
taken there while he
hurricane.
went to New Orleans.
But it's amazing how much he got done in such a short amount of time.
Oh, he's very
I
talented.
drove by and I saw him out there by the tree, maybe last week, I don't know. But then when I came back, he'd already carved a man standing up on the.
Oh yeah,
And that's the
he does
conductor.
all of it with chainsaws, and it's amazing. And
I've
what's
never
kind of
understood how
I
he
think
could do
what's
it.
fun is there's the sign out front during the early part of it was an invitation to the community to come sit and watch, and it's amazing how many people were down there with
No.
lawn chairs
It's
and
fascinating.
their coolers and
To see
sandwiches.
an artist
and,
at work with heavy tools.
Right,
That's
right.
amazing.
And he's bright. He's a bright guy with a bright smile, and,
Yeah.
and it was fun to watch that. But speaking about the hurricane in New Orleans and the COVID, I got in touch with my cousins who live in Crowley, Louisiana,
All right.
halfway in between Lafayette and Lake Charles, and they said they had survived. Of course, those people are used to water and wind.
Oh yeah.
It happens all the time down there.
I mean, they live their life prepared, I think.
Even in the piece I wrote about my grandmother's house, you know, their house is this high off the ground,
And still
and,
got
there's no foundation around it. The water just runs under it, and all those houses down there that way, because particularly farmhouses, because the ground's flat. I mean, when it floods, everything floods.
Everything floods.
And she said that they had gotten over the coronavirus. They, had it.
And they survived.
And survived it, and of course, New Orleans ran wide open when
Oh, sure.
during all of that, and they had Mardi Gras, and I mean,
They went ahead with their lives.
did everything, and it became a hot spot.
Well, that's true, but you can't just stop your
No,
life.
no,
You
can't live in
stop
fear.
your life, and you can't live in fear. And monsoon, have you ever been in a monsoon?
Yeah,
I've been in a
I've been
monsoon.
down there. I've been down at Granny's house when you open the door and look outside, and the water's, this high from coming in the kitchen floor, but it's 4 foot deep.
Right.
And they're out there with boats. I mean, they've got P-row boats, and
I don't. People that are
they're ready
prepared
for it.
don't panic.
No, they don't
panic.
panic.
They just deal with it, and it's
They
part of their lives.
lock
But
it down.
Nevertheless, there are a lot of people affected
Sure,
that don't know
sure.
how to deal with it, and it's for old people that maybe are sick. It's tough.
Well, you'll understand. They're farm people,
Yeah.
so they live out of town, so they don't have buildings falling down and stuff
Right.
like that happening. They have their house and some barns and a bunch of flat land.
And
They can look out and go, oh, okay, yeah, it came a flood. let's go fishing. Let's
Get
get.
some
We'll have a
crawdads.
good. We'll have a good crawfish
We'll
crop
have
this
a
year.
crawfish boil.
So, but speaking of the COVID, I'll go into our wonderful Tullahoma Wildcat football team who regained the coffee pot again this year, and this is the first time in a long time that our senior class has won it all 4 years that they were playing ball.
That's wonderful.
That's really great
what
for
an
those
exciting
young men.
thing for Tullahoma.
And we have, folks, a very, very good, possibly very good football team.
Well, tell me this. I wasn't there. Were you there?
Of course.
I just wondered what the audience was like. Were people
Well,
socially distanced?
the way the school has laid out the stadium, you don't have in the seating, there's social distancing.
Okay.
And so when they do that and measure that out and block off seats, the stadium will hold about a third
Of what it usually does.
of what it usually does.
Well, somebody told me that when they had an away game, that maybe they were not sending the band, they were not sending cheerleaders.
I don't
They were
know.
just sending the players. I cannot say that that's the truth.
We and I talked with John about that on the football show this week. When we lay our stadium out to do the proper thing that we have chosen, it leaves 500 seats for the visiting team.
Oh, okay.
Now, some of the stadiums, when you get up in some of these bigger towns, there's plenty of room
Yeah.
for them to do what they need to do. So it just depends on where you go, how they've laid the stadium out. Just like in our stadium, we've laid it out in boxes, just like we did at South Jackson Goes Country.
That worked really
because
well.
families are together, families and friends. I mean, if you're sitting like Ray, our newly elected Mayor Ray Noes is here, and Ray and Ann have gone to the games and been season ticket holders for years, as have we. You sit with people, your family or family friends that you're together with all the time anyway.
Right.
So those boxes of people you'll see together,
Yeah.
just like we put families together at the country show.
And it
And then
worked.
there's other
To
seating
my
to where
knowledge,
people
we
can
have
be
not had
social
word
distancing.
of anybody that was there or anybody on the stage, because not one person ever touched a microphone that was not disinfected and covered with a new cover.
That's right. No, we did
Thrown
what
in
we
the
needed
trash
to do.
when they got through.
Yeah.
So I don't know what our expenses were because we had a lot just to stay
Doesn't make any difference. We
sterilized,
put a
but-
show on, didn't we, Ray? And our football team's playing good football. And that's one thing I want to put out on the families of the players and the players themselves. Stay healthy.
Oh, yeah.
I don't care if you think wearing a mask is an infringement on your rights. If a couple or 2 or 3 or 4 of our kids get it,
It's going to
guess
go
what?
through.
We're going to miss 14 days. That's 2 football games. That can be the difference in being in the playoffs, going to the championship, or not going.
Well,
So think about these kids. Don't think about yourself. Think about these kids in this wonderful program we have in the city of Tullahoma, our high school football team, who, by the way, the funding that's raised during football season pays for just about every other sport that we have.
so it's important
So
to
it's
keep it
very
going,
important
yeah.
that these young men be successful and go forward and play. So you as a parent, a friend, a family member, be careful around these young men to where they can stay well and continue to play ball.
And they in turn would be careful also.
That's right. That's
Everybody
right.
just do the best they can.
So,
I don't lay awake thinking about it.
no.
I don't have
Robin
time.
Williams.
Robin, my man Robin, the
Robin
comedian?
Williams.
Or is that who you're talking about? The
Yes,
comedian?
the actor,
I loved him.
the comedian who committed suicide.
Sad to see him go. Have you written a poem on
No,
him?
I'm going to bring one back, though. I saw on the Today Show, his wife was on today, and ever since he died, she has been researching to find out why what happened to him. And it was found out that he had Lewy body dementia.
Oh, I didn't know that.
And nobody knew it until recently. She and her doctors and his doctors have finally gone through all these processes
And DNA, and they
found out and
out.
looked at his brain scans.
That's interesting.
And found out that was why he did what he did, because of the effects of Lewy body dementia and what it did to his brain, and how he reacted to some of these things, and even some of the movies. You know, Robin was in the movie about the museum.
Oh yeah.
He was Teddy Roosevelt.
Right.
And it showed him involved in that movie with the director, where Robin could not remember his lines and did not know what he was supposed to do, which was completely different from his brilliance.
Brilliance, I know.
And everything that he did. There's a you need to watch the Today Show.
Lewy body disease is a disease very few people have even heard of.
Right. So
Few and
this is
far
something I
between.
wrote several years ago for Alzheimer's Tennessee. It's called Alzheimer.
Alzheimer, okay.
Sometimes I find my mind aloof, stealing away and leaving me, not knowing what that word might be or the name of the face I see. What's happened to my memory? It's not what it used to be. Why is everyone looking at me? Didn't you ever sit on the roof? I don't remember any Lewy body. Is he a brother to cousin Lottie? And that guy Al stopped by, said he'd be back later for more. I haven't met any Zymers before. Don't think they're from these parts. Seemed real nice, bless his heart. The Alzheimer's of Tennessee. Sounds like a real big family. This is all exhausting somehow. I think I'll take a nap now.
Interesting.
You know, so
My brother-in-law has Lewy body disease, and it's a disastrous disease, debilitating from the start.
it's fast onset dementia. Dementia usually takes years to progress, and Lewy body is a vicious attack
It is
of
vicious,
dementia,
yeah.
is what it is. And so that's why the great, loving, big-hearted Robin Williams committed suicide. He didn't even know he was doing it. And it wasn't because of drugs. It wasn't because of any of the things that were pinned on him throughout his career.
was this
It was
disease.
because of a terrible disease.
And there's a lot of people that are caught up in different kind of diseases, and it's worse during a pandemic.
Sure it is. The weight of a thought should not always be determined by the number or elegance of the words used to convey it.
I'll think about that. Oh, what's this one?
I'm exhausted. This is good for right now. I'm exhausted. My life has left me drained. Where will I find the manna to finish the show? Has God forsaken me? Then in the eyes and smile of a stranger, I find a strength and joy that lifts me above my situation. And I realize God's light shines beyond new faces, behind new faces, beyond common places where we stretch and grow, outside the comfort zone of all the things we know, to an open mind that opens brand new spaces. God's universe waits beyond common places.
Very nice.
So go beyond common places. Hey, we're going to go right now. After this, last one, I'm not going to let you go yet. This is for today and the world. Right now, the way things are and the way people are directly 180 degrees opposed to everything. I call it the illuminant. The only acceptable obligation is freedom to think beyond any structure, allowing the ascension to universal understanding. rendering all walls invisible. We'll be back after these messages.
That was nice.
Ah, the glory days. Running to daylight on the gridiron and chasing a ball with a mind of its own. Cheering the team to victory and marching to the beat of your own drum. Memories that last a lifetime. But sometimes we're reminded of our glory days in ways we'd rather forget. Get back in the game. The rehab team at Life Care Center of Tullahoma is ready to help you live and play well.
Is this the year you want to get fit? If so, check out just some of the things Tullahoma Parks and Rec has to offer. Kickboxing, aerobics, silver sneakers workouts, swim lessons, boot camp, water aerobics, basketball, Zumba, yoga, pickleball, lap swimming, treadmill, karate. Get fit, Tullahoma, and have some fun with Tullahoma Parks and Rec.
Hello everyone, Governor Bill Lee. The 2020 census is underway and more than 60% of Tennesseans have already been counted. I want to encourage every household that hasn't yet responded to the census to do so now. An accurate census will bring more of our federal tax dollars back to Tennessee communities to support services that we all like health care, education, roads, and so much more. Log on to 2020census.gov to answer some simple questions about the people living in your home. You can also respond by phone or mail in your questionnaire. It should only take a few minutes and can mean so much for your family and your community. Help shape the future of Tennessee by responding to the 2020 census today.
It's not invoice. It's not MSRP. It's not Christmas Day, although it may feel like it. It's the lowest prices in Middle Tennessee, period. It's a Stan McNabb Chrysler Dodge Jeep Ram or Stan McNabb Chevrolet Buick GMC Cadillac before these prices are gone forever.
How long has it been since you raced a cheetah? Are your tornado creating skills getting rusty? Tired of being the only one in your neighborhood who hasn't built a dinosaur? Sounds like it's time to visit the Hands-On Science Center. The Hands-On Science Center is an indoor science playground. In this museum, please touch is the rule. Join us for weekly science demonstrations on space, lasers, lizards, rocks, and a whole lot more. No two visits are ever the same, so visit often to see our ever-changing exhibits and demonstrations. The Hands-On Science Center, 101 Mitchell Boulevard in Tullahoma.
Companies would like to
All
look
right,
at.
ladies and gentlemen, we're back, and I'm proud today to have my friend and our new mayor of Tullahoma, Tennessee, Mayor Ray Noaes, on the set with us today. And Ray has been mayor for what, Ray, a week?
Already 1 week.
How's it going, my friend?
No problem so far, John. It's been busy. Mayor Curley left me plenty of things to be involved in. He left me a desk that was covered with things that I need to be familiar with. And I've been spending the last week just going through things, just familiarizing myself with all the activities that he had been involved with. So I've still been attending some meetings that I've been involved in prior to being mayor. So I've had a full week for sure.
And you have made a call, made a decision at the board meeting not to fill the normal mayor-appointed positions to the different committees and stuff until we have a full board, because we need another alderman.
That's correct, John. I did make one board announcement. That was the Planning Commission.
Right.
That was in the. We had Ms. Rupa Blackwell was serving. Alderman Rupa Blackwell was serving as the mayor's appointed position on the board. I have elected, since I have been so involved with economic development in the community for the last 5 years, to remain on the board myself. I had been on the board as the appointment by the Board of Mayor and Alderman. Rupa was on as the mayor's representative. in that I was electing to stay, Ms. Blackwell chose to resign her position as the mayor's appointment. I filled that position, and she elected to stay, if elected, which she was, to remain the board's appointed position on there. So Ms. Blackwell has been on the board now since she was elected alderman. I've been on the board now for about 5 years, so I'll continue in that role.
So what you've decided to do is you want to stay closely involved in that, because that was one of the things on your platform, was to work with the builders and work with the planning in this town to solve a few issues that we had. And so instead of appointing a mayor's representative, you are the mayor, and you're going to be that representative on that board.
That's exactly
Okay.
correct. So I think that'll work just fine. If you look back in some of the history of our mayors in that position, in fact, Lane Curley served as mayor on that board early in his career, and then at some point elected to put a representative on that board. So
Right.
this is not, there's a precedent for doing this, I might say.
Sure. And knowing Lane and as detailed as he is, it doesn't surprise me that he did leave you a lot of his research on the desk, which is a wonderful thing for you to have that research and those notes and ideas and everything there for you.
Yes, it's a very good resource for me. John, you mentioned in your earlier segment about the football team this year.
Yes, sir.
Well, let me elaborate on that just a little bit. My wife Ann and I have been over 40-year season ticket holders on the 50-yard line there at Wilkins Stadium, or Dub Cooper Stadium it is now.
Right.
And we have thoroughly enjoyed sitting down and watching our young athletes compete, going on to college and becoming successful in business, and sometimes they don't come back to Tullahoma. My goal is to see those young athletes and business people come back to Tullahoma and become season ticket holders for Tullahoma football in
Yes,
Tullahoma.
sir.
So they'll enjoy that.
Yeah. And we have a good bunch of young men, and the ball games are being live streamed to where you can watch them. We at Channel 6 here, we do the John Ollie Fifth Quarter Show, which is on our Charter Channel 193, but it's also on our YouTube page and on our Facebook page. So there's a lot of people who still don't feel comfortable getting out. The TSSAA has allowed the streaming of those games live because of the coronavirus. They've never done that before because they want you to buy a ticket because they get a percentage of the ticket.
That's correct.
So,
but I'll tell you, the live streaming has worked very well, I might add. And last game, when we had a lightning strike with 9:42 to go in the first half, I thought, oh, the game's over, because I had no idea. I'll just go home. Well, they came back on, so I got to watch the rest of the game from home. So yes, having
That's a
those
good
games
thing,
televised is good. Now, I wonder, the question becomes, how much will that affect season ticket sales in the future? People may become accustomed to that, and I don't know how long TSSAA will allow live streaming.
They'll allow it. I don't think they'll allow it because there's no way they can get the income off of it. They need to do what they do.
So live streaming may be a temporary thing till we get through the pandemic.
I think it probably will be.
Well, John, we've got some more things going on in Tullahoma I'd like to talk a little bit about.
I told you just a minute ago, I came through yesterday morning at about 9 o'clock and drove by Hobby Lobby, which really did not advertise they were open, had a soft opening just to get things going, and they've been slammed ever since somebody got it out and put it on Facebook. And there were cars from 5-6 different counties in that parking lot, and you said you had some numbers on that.
Yes, I do, John. It turns out that they did a soft opening on that at Hobby Lobby on Friday, actually. So I didn't realize they were doing a soft opening on Friday. I thought they were doing it on Monday, but driving home in the afternoon, I looked over and the parking lot was completely full. Completely full. The only thing I'll say about Hobby Lobby is they may have to expand the parking lot because it was full again all day yesterday. So I did a little experiment. I took a with Tullahoma as the center, I drew a radius with a 30-mile radius. And that encompassed 11 counties when I drew that circle, and looked up the population of that area that I've circumscribed with a 30-mile radius, which is about what people will drive to a theater, drive to dinner, drive to a game.
Sure.
It's about the commute distance that people are willing to accommodate. It goes to the Alabama state line, it goes almost to Murfreesboro, it reaches almost to Shelby, to Fayette, to Lewisburg, and so up on the mountain to Mount Eagle. So that's the area that we're covering there. Population of that area is 540,000 people. That's almost the equivalent of Nashville. It's just under the size of Nashville. It's larger than Chattanooga, it's larger than Murfreesboro. So Hobby Lobby has got a real location here to be a center of a very large population area.
And I saw Bedford County, Warren County, Franklin County, Moore County, Lincoln County, McMinn County. That's 6 different counties, and Coffee County. That's 7. But over 50% of the cars were from out of county, and probably 50% of the Coffee County cars were from Manchester. So you're looking at 75% of a full parking lot. The people who don't live here, we're getting their tax dollars.
Well, they're getting their sales tax dollars big time, and our sales tax revenue for the city has been surprisingly up during this virus issue that we've had. A number of things contribute to that, but a lot of people, instead of going to Nashville or Murfreesboro spending their money, they're spending their money locally. Retail stores like Lowe's and of course Walmart, they have done a booming business during this time because people are shopping at home. Grocery stores have not been hurt at all. In fact, they've flourished during this time. So
people are cooking at home instead of going out.
I've cooked more at home myself during this time than I have in the last many years. That's correct. But we'll get through this and get back to an old normal, we hope, sometime, and we can be shaking hands with people again. That's looking forward to that.
Or a new normal. It'll probably be a new normal
for a while.
And anything else, just right on the top here. I know you've got somewhere to be. We're in the same building with Ray. We sort of snatched him out of the hall this morning. Is there anything on your mind a pressure point that you're looking at, or a specific direction that, other than learning all you can as quickly as possible?
Well, let me say that we are in the process of going through the process of getting a new alderman. My seat will be open. And the process is this: we have asked any candidate that would like to be considered for that to submit a citizens participation form to City Hall, along with a resume stating why they should be considered to be an alderman. Then we've asked them to come to either live or the regular meeting. I think it will be a Zoom meeting next Monday on the 14th. We're asking them to come to that meeting and make their case before the alderman, and then we'll ask for nominations from the alderman to serve. Then there will be a vote by the six sitting aldermen and mayor. Now, we could have as many as 4 candidates, or we maybe have 5 or 6, I don't know. But we only had to have 4 aldermen, 5 aldermen sitting, so we don't know. They'll have to nominate someone. So you have to get nominated, and then you have to get a majority. That means 4 votes is what it'll take to elect the next alderman.
Okay.
So that's the process that we're going through, and that's being, we made that announcement at the last board meeting. We've advised all the candidates that we know of to make sure that they get their credentials in, if you will.
Right.
So I'm sure from that group we'll find an excellent alderman to replace me.
Well, I want to congratulate you again in a campaign well run.
Thank you.
I was very happy to see how things turned out. It didn't get too ugly. Politics can get ugly, and it didn't get too ugly. And the outcome is now Ray Noyes is the mayor of Tullahoma, Tennessee. Get behind him, folks. This young man has plenty of energy. He probably outworked most of you physically, and mentally, he's got what it takes to get things done. So get behind this fellow right here, and let's watch Tullahoma go and grow.
Thank you, John.
You're
I appreciate
welcome,
the
buddy.
opportunity to be
See
with you
you.
this morning.
See you next time.
Betcha.
We'll be right back.
Hi, I'm Cindy,
And I'm Jacob. I'm the Rooster.
and I'm the Red Mane, and we would like to welcome you to
Roosterware.
Yes, Roosterware is a cottage industry producing accessories for men, women, children, babies, and pets. All items are hand cut and sewn locally. Roosterware specializes in bow ties, pocket squares, scarves, cufflinks, neckties, and aprons of all sizes for all ages. Baby products include onesies, diaper covers, bibs, and burp pads. All bow ties, tie it yourself or pre-tied, come with an adjustable neckband. All products can be made with a material of your choice, as special orders are available upon request. Don't be standing back looking at fashion. Create your own with Roosterware.
come visit us at
Roosterandredmaiden.com.
to find our handcrafted designs for
The cock of the walk.
I want to eat apples and bananas. I need to eat apples and bananas. Why can't I eat apples and bananas?
Support the Feeding America nationwide network of food banks to help provide meals to those in need. Join us at feedingamerica.org.
Since the moment you were born, I've made 1,000 wishes. Wishes for your future in a world that's changing fast. Do play and laugh. Do win and lose. Do it all with confidence, kindness, and strength. And always do your best to remember that no matter what you do in this life, what matters to me is that you keep doing.
Get your news first, fast, and free with your news leader on 6 every Tuesday, Thursday, and Saturday nights at 6, 8, and 10 p.m. Local weather, sports, community calendar events, and a comprehensive look at the latest news stories and news makers as only a video news broadcast can do. Get it first, fast, and free with News Leader on Channel 6, your local information network. You know, ladies and gentlemen, last week was the 100-year anniversary of women's suffrage, and the Tullahoma Historical Society had a wonderful program that I went and videoed where Marianne Scott portrayed one of the ladies from Tullahoma who was very involved statewide and nationally in that movement. And here's some video from that speech that she gave.
Yeah, that's a couple of great ones right there. Look at them, boy. They are dressed up for the event tonight.
My name's Mark Shemp, and I appreciate you joining us tonight for the Historic Preservation Society of Tullahoma's regular meeting, although with COVID and what it's done to our scheduling, we haven't quite had the regular meetings in the sense that we normally would have. But we did make it. We beat the weather tonight, and we are indeed fortunate that we've got Marianne Scott going to speak to us tonight about suffrage. The women's suffrage movement, 100 years old, and program. And I think in particular, she's going to talk about how Tullahoma, as always, contributed to it. And I'm grateful for her. Okay, well, with that in mind, I appreciate you being with us. I think you're going to find it entertaining and informative, more so than just entertainment. So Marianne, if you would come up, Marjorie, if you would be kind enough to come up or make the introductions in a more formal sense.
To have someone speaking on a very timely subject, Marianne Scott, and she has a terrific background. I think you saw it in the paper. Has a bachelor and a master of science degree in electrical engineering, and his master of doctorate degree in engineering science. Has worked at UTSI and Department of Energy. So I think she's set a good example for any suffragette. She doesn't hesitate to take in what some men claim is their field, I think. But we're really looking forward to hearing her talk about suffragette movement and enlighten us the fact that Tullahoma had a part in it. So, Mary Ann?
The right of citizens to vote shall not be denied or abridged by the United States or any state on account of sex. That's from the 19th Amendment. And since today is August the 25th, 1920, it's just been a week since our Tennessee legislators voted to ratify. So these empowering words are going to lead us forward. It was a battle, it was long, it was hard, but we finally prevailed. Unfortunately, a lot of the leaders early on didn't live to see this happen. People like Elizabeth Cady Stanton, Susan B. Anthony. This has been going on for 72 years. They were some of the early women, and they're no longer with us. But I'm sure they're aware that we finally made it. For myself, I couldn't think of anything that I would have rather have done with my life than be part of this great cause. So, you ask, who am I? I appreciate you asking me here today to tell you about this journey. I was born just down the road a piece in Shelbyville. I was born Sarah William Knott, and my friends call me Will. When I was in school, I went by Will Knott, and some of my teachers didn't like it too much when I abbreviated my name to Wont. So for the last 5 years, I've done a lot of traveling, had a lot of meetings, had a lot of lobbying with various people. Our work entitled Some Fundraising, and one of the things that we did, we had a bazaar, and it was located at the local millinery owned by two sisters. And we also, this wasn't fundraising, but it was part of our lobbying effort. Tullahoma had a 7-day Chautauqua. We put up a rest tent, baby rest tent. So mothers who were there trying to enjoy the entertainment, and their kids got, I'm tired, I'm ready. Place for them to go and rest. And that also gave us a chance to meet with the women and to discuss what they needed to know about what we wanted to share with them. So that was another really good thing. So again, I have to say that there is nothing that I would have rather been doing than to be part of this movement. And thanks for listening to me.
Here at Manchester Funeral Home, we know the importance of living and working in our local community because it's those families who we serve during their time of need honorably. We believe in supporting local business and offer only 100% Batesville caskets, the best in the industry and a driver of our local economy. If you want straightforward and fair pricing while working with the people you know, choose Manchester Funeral Home, serving your community since 1932. And pre-planning and pre-funding can be the best gift you ever leave your loved ones. Call us to pre-arrange. Manchester Funeral Home. Our family, caring for your family since 1932.
If you want to be a parent, it doesn't matter how you play, what you wear, how you dance, or even what direction life takes you. You just need to be there. You don't have to be perfect to be a perfect parent. Thousands of teens in foster care don't need perfection. They just need you.
How long has it been since you raced a cheetah? Are your tornado creating skills getting rusty? Tired of being the only one in your neighborhood who hasn't built a dinosaur? Sounds like it's time to visit the Hands-On Science Center. The Hands-On Science Center is an indoor science playground. In this museum, please touch is the rule. Join us for weekly science demonstrations on space, lasers, lizards, rocks, and a whole lot more. No two visits are ever the same, so visit often to see our ever-changing exhibits and demonstrations. The Hands-On Science Center, 101 Mitchell Boulevard in Tullahoma.
Get your news first, fast, and free with your news leader on 6 every Tuesday, Thursday, and Saturday nights at 6, 8, and 10 p.m. Local weather, sports, community calendar events, and a comprehensive look at the latest news stories and news makers as only a video news broadcast can do. Get it first, fast, and free with News Leader on Channel 6, your local information network.
Good afternoon, morning, whatever it is. I don't know why this caught me unaware. I'm on the set today with Sean Amadon, the executive director of the Fine Arts Center, not Fine Arts, see, I can't even think, of the Hands-On Science Center. We were just watching things about the Hands-On Science Center that we're going to deny, right?
Thanks for having me, Peggy. We got some really cool announcements to make. A lot of big changes have been going on. We obviously dealing with the COVID situation.
Right, and I've been wondering myself if you were open at all. And
yeah, we are not currently open to the public. It's been a real difficult, kind of scary time for us. We closed to the public back in March.
Like everybody else, I guess.
Yeah, we haven't been reopened since. However, there's been a lot of really exciting stuff going on.
Great.
And I am here to announce a brand new strategic plan that we have in place for a complete reinvention of the HOSC.
All right, let's hear it.
Yeah, so basically we're really trying to go virtual. So this new strategic plan that we have is HOSC Virtual. And there's a whole bunch of different initiatives that are laid out under this new strategic plan. And we are gradually going to be rolling these out. We actually have rolled out 3 of them so far. And I'll say.
And how does that work? Like, how does it?
Yeah, so basically the first major initiative under this new plan is what we're calling Get Social with HOSC. So those of you out there that are fans of our Facebook page have probably seen this first one that's come out, or this first couple. One is we have these new science dailies, we're calling them. They're 4 or 5 Facebook posts every single day talking about different fun science facts, DIY projects you can do at home, and these are all kind of a theme for the week. We had a space theme, and this week is underground science.
And so in order to get that, did they go to your website?
Yep, they just go to our Facebook
on your
page.
Facebook page?
On our Facebook page.
And it'll be there ready for them to pick up anytime during the day.
Absolutely.
What a great plan.
Yeah, we introduced that one about 3 weeks ago. 2 weeks ago, we had our next one, which we're calling our virtual classroom, and we had a Facebook Live version of that. Very successful. People really liked it. We had Bill and Olga did a really cool Cosmic Voyage show. We've had over 2,000 views of the video, so really, really great. Our next one, those we're going to be doing every 2 weeks. Our next one will be this coming Thursday, and I'll be doing a really cool show talking about the magic of carbon dioxide.
Oh, wow. Will you blow up things?
There might be some explosions, so make sure you tune in. It's going to be 4:30 on this coming Thursday. All you got to do is go to our Facebook page. It'll be right there. And the cool thing about this is it's live, so it's interactive. We'll have people actually reading the comments that people are typing in.
Oh, I see.
So you can ask the questions.
So they're
and
watching
everything
you
like
on
that.
their computer.
Yeah, exactly.
And they can type in their questions,
Yep.
and you can type in the answers right
Yeah,
there.
exactly. Well, I'll go ahead and just, we'll have Olga will be on there reading the questions to me, and I'll answer
And
all your
you'll do it
questions
live.
and doing it live. So really fun, really great interactions. You know, for those of you that are missing the Science Center, you can kind of, still get a piece of it that way.
I know the kids are missing the Science Center.
They are.
What a wonderful place, and I'm so glad that you're involved in keeping it going.
Yeah, and the third really cool thing we already have rolled out is our take-home science kits. Yeah, this
Would that have something to do with this?
That would be
What all
this
you
right
got
here.
in there?
This is a little sample of what we did this last week, and it's really cool. It's a completely all-inclusive kit. Comes with a little lesson plan, instructions.
Wonderful.
This one was actually a build-your-own planetarium. So you learned about constellations, and you got all the supplies you need. One of our goals for this was an entirely free kit. And one of our goals is we're really trying to reach the community, the people that just might not have the resources.
Right.
And we really want to try to help people. So it's completely 100% all-inclusive. All, scissors, hole punches, you got your glue sticks,
you don't necessarily
everything.
have to belong to the...
No, not for this one. We
Not
really
for
are
this
just
one.
trying to,
You just wanna
reach
keep-
people. We want to make sure that those kids are getting educated that really
That's
need
wonderful.
it. So the goal was, they can come pick up a kit and head to the park and do it. So they don't need any other
So all they have
supplies.
to do is just come and walk in the door.
Exactly. And also really neat is it's got a little link to a video that we
That's
produce
great.
where our staff, either me or Olga, will be hosting, and we'll have a special guest host that'll do it with us. So they talk through the project, teach you about all
Teach you
kinds
exactly
of really
what
cool
to do and
constellations.
what's in there, and then you get to keep all the stuff.
Yep, exactly. And our next one will be released. We'll announce it officially. We're shooting for a week from this Thursday. So we're alternating weeks. We'll do a Facebook Live one week and this the next week. It's going to be a really fun one. Polymer chemistry. Does that sound really fun?
I don't really know what it means, so you're going to have to tell me.
Exactly. We're hoping people don't necessarily know what it means
Yeah.
to start with, because in that way they're learning something.
Right.
Polymer chemistry is they're going to make some slime.
Oh,
So
fun.
it might sound boring, but it's actually going to be really, really cool. So those are the three of these initiatives that
Will
we've
it be
released so
green?
far. Potentially. Yeah. And like I said, there's a bunch more. We have a whole timeline of how we're going to gradually release these things, because they're going to all tie into each other. For example, the Facebook Live virtual classroom. That is kind of a practice and advertisement for what we're going to be doing for schools, which is actually a Google Meet version of that.
Oh, good.
So rather than people, watch us on Facebook, which is just open, free to the public, everybody can watch it, a school can actually book us, and we'll do those type of programs directly for that school, where they can talk to us
So
face to
they're
face.
Will it be like Zooming a little bit? Or?
Yeah, Google Meets is
Yeah.
basically a free
Yeah.
version of Zoom that we
Okay.
use. So that's going to be rolling out
That's
shortly.
a wonderful plan.
A really big one is going to be what we're calling our STEM online learning portal. And that's going to it's going to be on our website, a whole bunch of different pages, different components of it, resources for teachers, pre-written lesson plans.
What a great thing.
Yeah. All kinds of videos that we produce in-house. It'll have an archive of our Facebook videos, all kinds of other things, recommended readings, recommended science kits, a whole vast array, just a giant resource for people, not only locally, but nationwide can actually come
I would think
to.
it'd be a great asset for the teachers,
Yes,
because
absolutely.
their planning must be just out the roof.
Yeah,
trying to-
things are just so
trying to do
confusing for
everything,
teachers and
yeah.
everything right now. So we want to kind of have this one place that they can go and get all that cool information. And it'll be for families and stuff like that too. We're eventually going to be expanding our lending library, which these little kits that they can come and pick up. These are bigger items where you can actually come, borrow them, do these experiments,
And
and
then
bring them
return
back.
them.
So that's going to be something we'll roll out and develop more. We're going to be working on some virtual events. Unfortunately, this year was our 25th anniversary of the Haas building, and we had a giant, huge
You
event
had
planned.
I knew about
and that was supposed to happen in August. It
and
didn't
it
happen.
just couldn't happen. So are you going to take it forward?
What we are going to do is we are going to have a virtual birthday bash. We don't have an exact date yet. It'll kind of be a belated birthday that we will eventually be doing virtually. So we'll give more details on that as that comes out. Another one, I talked to you about the Get Social with HOSC, which has the science dailies. Again, we got a whole ladder of stuff as it comes out. One of those is going to be our science shorts, which are going to be just 4 to 10 minute videos with quick concepts, actually doing a tour of the Science Center where we'll go to exhibit. I know most of you out there know Bill Boss. He's
excuse me,
one of our founders. Good? All right.
I almost have to do it twice, but somehow
he's one of our founders. He's really excited about this one because he really misses teaching the kids too.
Bill Boss is a fabulous person.
So he's going to go and, for example, one of them he's really excited about is, most of you know, the toilet exhibit that's at the Science Center. So he's going to do a video talking about how a toilet works, and we're going to do all these really cool things.
That's
those will all be rolling out. So, though it's been a weird, scary situation.
When did you all have to actually start? When did you actually start deciding, well, hey, we got to close this and we have to come up with a plan?
Yeah, it's been an evolution. I mean, when we closed in March, we were like, well, we'll open by September for sure.
Right. Everybody thought
that.
Summer
So
it'll be over.
It was gradual. In retrospect, if we had started planning this stuff a little bit earlier, we'd be in a better situation. But
nobody can blame
hindsight's
you for
2020.
that, because
Exactly.
I think at the beginning I had the idea about 2 weeks.
Right.
Because I was teaching private students, and I thought, well, they're going to be fine, so I'll just skip about a month, and then it didn't work that way.
Yeah. So I mean, I'm really excited about what we've developed. It's something that has been lacking, all these virtual components. So I'm excited about it. But the important thing, everything that I've talked about, I haven't talked about any money.
Yeah,
all this is currently free.
I know.
All these resources are 100% free. So there is a little bit of fear still there.
Yeah.
We're self-funding, things like these kits right now. The goal is to get, companies or families or something like that that will sponsor a kit for a week, that will sponsor this video, that will sponsor a Facebook Live.
That's a great idea.
This coming year, and we've kind of developed a plan, worst case scenario type plan. What if we don't open at all in 2021?
Right, you don't know.
So hopefully that'll change, but we have developed this plan where we have a plan, in case that happens. And that plan depends on the community. It depends on donors. It depends on corporate sponsors. So we are actually I've been working lots of hours, developing a new development packet that we're, hoping to get out to some of those businesses that may be able to help.
I think you'll find that a very giving community here.
Yeah,
in this
that's
region.
one thing. Yeah, when I moved here, I was really happy to see all the support. Like I said, we just, need to get that word out.
I love what you're doing, and I think it's fantastic. How many of you work on these projects? Just you and?
Currently, we're down to just me and Olga, our Director of Education, as paid staff.
Right.
We do have a volunteer board of about 6 people now that are helping a little bit. We are going to need some more volunteers and things like that.
It seems like with what you're doing, that would fulfill the science credit for students.
Sure. Yeah. I mean, we definitely
certainly help fill that.
We could use volunteers, and like I said, it kind of all snowballs and comes together. We can do a kit, and we can do we have funds for maybe 1 or 2 more of these.
Yeah.
We need somebody to step up in the community.
And I would say you still want people to be members, even though right now that it's...
Yeah, our membership, with our facility, everything is directly hands-on.
Yeah.
We do not have the ability to disinfect 10,000 little tiny things.
I know.
But our membership does apply to other facilities throughout the country that can be open because they're not as hands-on as ours.
Let's, we're going to run out of time, so let's tell what's happening one more time this Thursday.
Yeah.
Is that right?
The very important one this Thursday is our next virtual classroom via Facebook Live. It's Thursday at 4:30, so please, tune into that. The more people
ready.
we have, looking at it, interacting with it.
When they tune in, do they need pencil and paper? Do they need anything?
They really don't.
Okay, they just tune their brains in.
Yeah, tune their brains in. Stay next to your keyboard because we're going to be asking you questions.
Get excited about answering questions
we need
and asking questions.
Yeah, the more interaction we we get on these.
I think this is
Facebook has this big
phenomenal. Yeah.
algorithm, and the more interactions, the better our
yeah.
results are on Facebook. So please, Thursday at 4:30, tune in, and we're going to have a really exciting show.
Sean, your enthusiasm makes me want to tune in Thursday at 4:30.
Yes,
I think it is fabulous.
Thursday at 4:30.
Thursday
yeah.
at 4:30,
Yeah.
and they just go to
Hands-On Science Center on Facebook.
On Facebook. Well, you got to come back.
Absolutely.
We'll just do an elbow
All
punch.
right.
Thank you.
Thank
It's great
you.
to see you
Thank
again.
you.
We'll be back with more.
My great-grandfather started it in 1900, and now it's 2020, which is 120 years. We still measure your feet, still try to help you find a good fit. We're just a good old-fashioned shoe store where we'll measure your feet, make sure you're in the right size, and help you find a comfortable shoe for men, women, and children.
We're gonna fit your style. We're gonna make you smile. Service and quality at Clayton Shoe Store. We're gonna fit your style.
Ah, the glory days. Running to daylight on the gridiron and chasing a ball with a mind of its own. Cheering the team to victory and marching to the beat of your own drum. Memories that last a lifetime. But sometimes we're reminded of our glory days in ways we'd rather forget. Get back in the game.
The rehab team at Life Care Center of Tullahoma is ready to help you live and play well.
Get your news first, fast, and free with your news leader on 6 every Tuesday, Thursday, and Saturday nights at 6, 8, and 10 p.m. Local weather, sports, community calendar events, and a comprehensive look at the latest news stories and news makers as only a video news broadcast can do. Get it first, fast, and free with News Leader on Channel 6, your local information network. Talking history about this and that. It's conversations with John and Pat. With John and Pat. With John and Pat.
Hello everyone, I'm John Rickman. And I'm Pat Welch, and John, we're here today for segment 23. Hot dog. I mean, 23 is going to set us free.
Yes, sir. I've got one song that I wrote many years ago about being happy when you're singing. Many times in my life I've been down and out, but I never did stay down very long. When you feel myself slip into the valley of despair, I'm delivered on the wings of a song. When the worries of this world weigh on my shoulders, and it seems I'm falling on my face for sure, I sing, and when I do, my burden's lifted. 'Cause there's nothing in this world a song won't cure. Sing, sing, sing when you're unhappy. Sing, sing, sing when you feel blue. 'Cause when you sing, 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 your voice like sunshine will part those gray skies and shine right through. That's the Reader's Digest condensed version. There's a little more to it, but I felt like this segment.
I don't know if we could take that much excitement if it went much further, John.
Well,
that was great.
Thank you, Pat. But we have some interesting topics today.
Yeah,
as always.
Right, and we normally have a somewhat of a, maybe a stretched segue, but normally a segue in. I don't know if we got one today, because we talked before we came down here. We might do a little bit of discussion on what some people, and I would agree, is probably the best period of NCAA college football in its history, and that would be the time following World War II, because a tremendous amount of veterans came back and still wanted to play. So rosters were dominated by people that were from 27, 26, 25 years old.
Mr. Osteen, my principal, he said, I went to MTSU and I was 18 years old and I I played football with people who'd killed other folks. And it was a scary situation for him.
That is, and I was going to kind of, from a local flavor, try to weave in Coach W.C. Cooper, who was John Gray's coach, and Coach Cooper coached from 56 season through the 66 season. He had been here 11 seasons, won a lot of games, and was a great coach. And the school board, after the stadium was redone 6 years ago, had the field named after him, and the outside of the stadium marks the field as W.C. Cooper Field. But he also was a really good player at UT. And when he went to UT, that would have been 47, I believe. The squad would have been, a majority had been veterans. And he told me he came as a 17-year-old freshman, and yet there were people on scholarship that basically were after his job and he was after theirs, that one of which had fought on Iwo Jima in the Pacific battles. And this guy had been crawling at night, and pitch black, under the jungle, and his hand went through a decomposed body of a Japanese soldier. I know that's a little bit rough, but that emphasizes the struggles and the trials and so forth that a whole lot of these football players have been through. Football practice wasn't a whole lot tougher. In fact, it wouldn't have been as tough as fighting for your life. And I said something to Coach Cooper one time in a visit. Man, that just doesn't seem fair that you had to be competing with somebody that had fought Japanese hand to hand at Iwo Jima. And he said, son, you just had to understand the facts as you went in. And he's exactly right. My father was the opposite way. He ended up not, thank goodness, was not involved in combat, but he was a naval fighter pilot. And he got his wings right before President Truman ordered the bomb to be dropped in Japan, and our government was prepared if that didn't work for an invasion of Japan. They were planning on possibly losing 1 million men, and his last orders were to go to San Diego to do a little bit more training on landing on flight decks, and from San Diego he was going straight to Japan. So that, some people would argue that maybe we shouldn't have dropped the bomb, but I would argue that I may not be here if we hadn't dropped the bomb. But back to Philip, why don't you show my father's picture? Well, that's better. That's the roster, and I don't know if everyone can see it, but it has an extra line instead of the name, weight, age, hometown, varsity letters, that kind of thing. One of the last lines on the right side is service, and the Alabama section there, I think I figured up one time about 65% of them had served in World War II or during that period, and that was in 48. So in 46 and 47, of course, even a higher percentage would have been involved in there. Now, why don't you show? There's my father's picture. That was his A-Day, or the Letterman's Club.
He's a good-looking picture. Gentleman.
And he kept his hair his whole life too, John. I was always jealous of his looks and his hair. And then we'll show one of Coach Cooper, and the Coach Cooper picture was drawn out of a 1948, the 1948 Tennessee-Alabama game program. And Coach Cooper wasn't a bad-looking individual.
He was principal at West when I first came to Tullahoma.
Right.
Good gentleman.
He went back after he finished coaching and got a master's in administration, and did a great job in administration for the city schools. And then what may be, to me, is really interesting is those two guys played against each other during this wartime. Coach Cooper came in as kind of being the disadvantaged, where he first went to UT. He was the young guy. My father, during this 1948 Tennessee-Alabama game, was 24 years old, I believe. But Tennessee won that day, either 21-6 or 21-7, and Coach Cooper threw a touchdown pass, and in the fourth quarter he ran for one, and he was voted Coach Neyland's player of the game of the week that week for his efforts against Alabama. And I've got a tape of the whole game, but Philip has pulled out 2 plays. The touchdown that Coach Cooper ran in the fourth quarter, which was the second score he was involved in, and the kickoff immediately following was returned by my father. So we got Coach Cooper and my father back to back, and I was visiting him one day, and he pulled out a whole lot of mementos he had, and he had a Knoxville News Sentinel. There's the score of Coach Cooper.
Take that, Alabama.
Yeah. I wish you wouldn't be so. I wish y'all wouldn't be
Take
so
that,
exuberant.
Jerry Mathis, Tim McGehee, various ones.
And then this kickoff was returned by my father. 2 plays removed, and I was mentioning the Knoxville News Sentinel at that time, and I can remember when I was first reading newspapers, the Nashville paper following the UT game would have a little chart on one page, and it had showed a cartoon character of maybe Smokey the dog carrying a ball, and a straight line was a run, a dotted line was a pass, and it graphed as a kind of caricature every play of the game. And Coach Cooper's paper from the Sunday following the 3rd Saturday of October 1948 had that, and he was looking at his name, and then he noticed right under his name the kickoff was returned by Welsh, spelled W-E-L-S-H like my family spells it, and he was just stunned. He said, "That's got to be your father, hadn't it?" And so I went back to tape and found that it was back to back.
They didn't know each other.
They, he knew.
That's amazing.
Coach Cooper knew me and my brothers from playing with his twin boys, and so he knew who my father was. But I don't know if he knew that he played at Alabama until the connection, but I know they never met. And it really, when Coach Cooper figured that out, it really bothered him. You know, all that time, and they could have really reminisced and had a great time.
Tell me what John and your children said when they noticed they saw a tape of your dad running a touchdown, and he simply handed the ball to the referee.
Or the umpire. That same year was 1948 was the first time Alabama and Auburn had played in something like 40 years, and the state legislature in Alabama got to where they were going to cut fundings off to both schools, force them to play, and Alabama beat them. That game was 55-0. It was the most lopsided score of the rivalry. And my father scored the second and third touchdowns, and I've got tape of that. And one time we were watching it, and my kids would have been like 6, 4, and 2, maybe something like that. And one of them, when he saw it, my father scored on a pass, jogged in. He was way behind secondary, and jogged in and handed the ball off and just jogged right off, all in the same motion. Never acted like he was just out for a morning romp. And one of my kids said, "Pawpaw, why didn't you spike it?" Which at that time would have been the furthest from somebody's thought. You know, it's the exuberance following a good play is definitely has changed.
It's a little different today, isn't it? There's a lot of. Well, Pat, this is great. And
I monopolized a little bit, John, and
you did well.
I appreciate you.
Well, you knew more about the subject today than anyone.
Well, it was a great time in college football, and a time where it was really competitive.
By the way, Mr. Cooper took that single wing, which they ran at UT then, and brought that to Tullahoma. And these boys, now our age, my age, and the ones that play for Coach Cooper, ran that single wing
just like it,
time.
And I was telling John Gray this morning that when I watched the whole tape, I felt like I was 10 years old in 1964 watching their games, because it was exactly the same offense as what was on that tape. So that, John, I think that wraps up segment 23. But that's not the end of the stories. We've got more to come. Unless P-Head says we're out. Thanks.
Talking history about this and that. It's conversations with John and Pat. With John and Pat. With John and Pat.
This is the face of a fighter.
I'm fighting to keep Tennesseans working.
I'm fighting for time with my friends.
I'm fighting for football on Saturday.
I'm fighting to see my students back in the classroom.
We're fighting for our small business.
I'm fighting to keep my family safe.
Whatever you're fighting for, it's time for all Tennesseans to fight back. Until there's a vaccine for COVID-19, this is the face of a fighter. Face it, masks fight COVID-19.
Let me tell you about the toughest guy on earth. He does the work of 2 jobs, but only gets paid for one. He's tough enough to feed the man that gave him a lifetime of nourishment. He has the crazy strength to lift the man that raised him up without even flinching. That's right. No employee of the month bonus check here. This guy, no, this warrior, will always be by his father's side, even if his dad will hardly remember. Good luck finding a gym to train for that. If this guy isn't the toughest guy on the planet, then I don't know who is. Caregiving is tougher than tough. Find the care guides you need at aarp.org/caregiving.
Is this the year you want to get fit? If so, check out just some of the things Tullahoma Parks and Rec has to offer. Kickboxing, aerobics, silver sneakers workouts, swim lessons, boot camp, water aerobics, basketball, Zumba, yoga, pickleball, lap swimming, treadmill, karate. Get fit, Tullahoma, and have some fun with Tullahoma Parks and Rec.
When your family suffers the loss of a loved one, the caring and compassionate staff at Tullahoma Funeral Home and Coffee County Funeral Chapel are standing by to assist you in every way possible. We are proud to support local industry and offer only Batesville caskets. Many funeral homes don't own or operate a crematory. We utilize the only crematory in Coffee County. Your loved one never leaves Coffee County. We can accommodate any need and any budget. Consider our complete pre-need service to remove this burden from your family during their time of grief. Lock in today's low costs and protect from inflation. Tullahoma Funeral Home and Coffee County Funeral Chapel. Our family caring for your family.
Get your news first, fast, and free with your news leader on 6 every Tuesday, Thursday, and Saturday nights at 6, 8, and 10 p.m. Local weather, sports, community calendar events, and a comprehensive look at the latest news stories and news makers as only a video news broadcast can do. Get it first, fast, and free with News Leader on Channel 6, your local information network.
Thank you, John. Thank you, camera lady. Her other one's not here with us today. Hope she's having a good trip wherever she is. And thank you, Mark and Clay, for sponsoring this Millennium Moment. You're a great company and do good work, and we're grateful that you share that with the public and with us. Today, I'd like to share something that's dear to everyone's heart, and that is a kind of a wrap-up on Memorial Day. You know, we had so many wonderful friends and families that took part in World War II and Korea and Vietnam, and the war years, 1941 to 1946, when the big Camp Forrest was here that trained so many wonderful soldiers. We thought they were old men, but the truth of the matter was they were just a year or two older than we were. They were right out of high school, and they were great people. And I thought I'd share with you a moment today about the USOs and the servicemen's clubs here in Tullahoma. And way down on South Jackson Street on the site of the Tullahoma Utilities building was a USO building. On the corner of Carroll and South Jackson Street, where the city school administration building is today, was the Catholic USO. And the Traveler's Aid and the Jewish USO was on the in a building, the old Norman Davis home, where it's now the McCord and Henry law offices at the corner of Moore and North Jackson Street. the American Legion bought the USO on South Jackson Street when it became available and surplus in 1946, and moved the Camp Force Library into there, and it was used for a lot of clubs, for functions and meetings and dances and that sort of thing. 1949 it burned to the ground, and then the American Legion met at the old Travelers Aid Jewish Community Center that was the brick building that had been the Norman Davis home. Later the Legion, of course, built on North Jackson Street, and in the meantime, one of the USO buildings still stands here in Tullahoma, and it's in this 200 block of West Grundy Street, right behind the Tullahoma Municipal Building. It was the Protestant USO building. It's still standing there. It became surplus and is now being used by a church. But it was a scene of a whole lot of activities, and the picture that I hold now is the first contingent of World War II veterans that had gotten their points and had come home, and this was in November of 1945, and the veterans of World War I were hosting with the American Legion a dinner for them on November the 11th at the USO building on West Grundy Street. And such notable people that are still with us, many of them have gone to their great reward, but such notables, as you can see on the front row kneeling in the white shirt, is our dear friend Keithley Wright, and such people as Joe Buck Camel, that's not with us anymore, but Barney Welch and Guy Gowan and Howard Peck and Earl Glover, those fine people that have served in the Navy or an Army or a branch of the military service. They got their points and had come home to their families and their friends and had gathered for a November 11th, used to be called Armistice Day, but now I think Congress, I don't know what year, which wouldn't make any difference, but combine all of the Veterans Day, Armistice Day celebration in what is now called Veterans Day on November the 11th. There used to be parades, and I know the school children would get out and march to town, and there would be a band there and speaking in Davidson Park. Sad to say, that time is gone, because even this past weekend for Memorial Day, many people let it go by without even thinking about it. Thank goodness many of the veterans did have the forethought and the sacrifice to go out and place flags on our departed veterans at the cemeteries here. Some 2,000 were placed at the graves, and they made that great sacrifice for us and for freedom. For that we're really grateful. Now, upcoming in next 2 or 3 weeks, I believe June the 14th, 2 weeks from today, will be Flag Day. And I would like to remind all of our citizens to think about Flag Day, the meaning of it, and we're going to show some things that I think will be interesting to you, one of which is the flag that flew over the post headquarters at Camp Forrest. So that and other things we'll be looking forward to, because this is not the end of the story. There's a lot more to come. Thank you, and have a great day.
Hello, ladies and gentlemen. This is the paint. Uh-oh. I just knocked the tree over. This is the paint doctor. I got the color wheel. Now, you know what a color wheel is? It is the wheel at the paint works where you pick all your colors to paint your room. It could be a multicolored beard. It could be a underarm fan? You never can tell. One thing we do know is that it's time to paint. You know, you can make your wife very happy if you go to your house and paint some rooms, or you paint the outside of the house, the inside of the house. It makes them feel very good because you work hard for them and they like that. All women like to see their man sweat, you know? They do. Honeydew is what they do. And you get to do it too. So you go to the Paint Works at 1960 North Washington Street and you see David Heikkinen over there, and he's the real paint doctor. He fix you up with color. It's so nice when the color is right. Go to Paintworks today. Martin Senior. See? Martin Senior. Right there. Martin Senior at the Paintworks. Bye, and we see you next time. I'm burning up.
You know what, guys? There's a lot of tree branches and dry brush over here. We should probably move the bonfire over there.
I'm guessing Smokey liked that idea.
Okay, so what would you bring to my company?
What do you need?
I need problem-solving skills.
I got through high school without a car, a phone, or a computer.
No college degree, though.
Not yet, but life's taught me a lot, and I'm ready for more.
Well, you're not the typical kind of candidate that I hire. But you are exactly what I'm looking for.
Your company could be missing out on the candidates it needs most. Learn how to find a great pool of untapped talent at gradsoflife.org.
Get your news first, fast, and free with your news leader on 6 every Tuesday, Thursday, and Saturday nights at 6, 8, and 10 p.m. Local weather, sports, community calendar events, and a comprehensive look at the latest news stories and news makers as only a video news broadcast can do. Get it first, fast, and free with News Leader on Channel 6, your local information network. All right, Peggy, we're back, and what a show.
I know, we had some good things.
Had all kinds of stuff going on, and we want to remind people that this Friday night, unless they change it to Thursday, but we don't think so.
On the weather, right?
Depends on the weather, but this Friday night, Tullahoma Wildcats are going to Marshall County, going over to Lewisburg, play football, and Marshall County is usually one of the top teams in our district, and in our region here, let's say there's like 6 of us in our group.
Yeah.
And then Tullahoma this week is in the division we're in, which is 4A, is ranked number 4 in the state.
Fabulous.
Number 4
Bless
in the
them.
state. Of course, we've played Coffee County and Shelbyville.
Right. And so what
that's
is the next game? Do you know? Where, when?
I just got through telling you.
I
You
know,
weren't
but
listening.
I went off. You know how I am.
Marshall County, over in Lewisburg, this Friday night.
I could
They have
remember
plenty of
Marshall.
room over there. Big stands, y'all come. It's a real important football game because they're usually either win or up. They're one of the top 1 or 2 teams in,
I'm really
in our
interested
division.
to know if the band is playing for anything. Are they going to these events?
Well, I don't know that they're going to the away games. No, there's not room for the fans and the band.
Okay.
See, even in our stadium, the band is in the end zone.
Yeah.
They're not even sitting in the stands. There's not room
Okay.
for them in the stands.
So they're in the end zone.
They're in the end zone on one end, and the teachers are in the end zone. Well, no, they moved all of them into one end zone because the other end zone's big enough. So I don't know that there are going to be seats
So
for the band.
what kind of team does Marshall County have?
Always have a good
They're
team.
a really good
Always
team?
have a good
So
team.
this should be a great game.
It'll be a very good game. It'll be a very important game.
I'm glad they're playing. I just think the kids
Well, they need to
do it.
play. These
I think
kids
they
need to
do too,
play.
Yeah.
You know, and it's it's funny. John and I were talking about it. when they finish the game, and usually they go shake hands, so they can't shake hands.
Yeah.
Now, they just got through spending 2 hours
just all over
with their
each
hands
other.
all over each other, but when they get through with the game,
They can't shake hands.
They can't shake hands.
They can only do this.
Oh, Lordy. But hey, as long as they're healthy, that's a good thing. We just appreciate you folks out there. Thanks for watching us. You know, we've been doing this a long time, and you put up with us a long time, and it gives people like Peggy and me and Jim and all of us a place to get before you and hopefully share some good information with you about things that are going on around here, and also entertain you just a little bit.
Maybe. I wanted to mention Isaac Eady, and I don't know how many people remember him, but he's a graduate of Tullahoma High School, great drummer, and he's having a record release at South Jackson on the 25th of September.
And he's part of the
Hamilton chain.
Hamilton.
There's
Walter Hamilton,
there's
Tyrone, all that
so much
bunch.
talent in that family.
It's there.
It's unbelievable.
It's there.
So I'm excited about that.
Thanks for being with me, my girl. I appreciate you.
I almost didn't make it today because I didn't sleep.
I know I can count on you.
That's why I keep zoning out. I didn't get a good night's sleep.
We got you.
All
We
right.
got you. Folks, thank you for being there. We'll see you next time.